Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. I welcome all the dignitaries and participants for the national webinar on the topic Understanding of IQ, EQ, ESQ and Perception as an Educator. The college Shri Kumarswami College Ausa, which is run by Shri Mahavidyalaya Shikshan Prasadak Mandal Ausa, has been organizing a mega series of national and international webinars for spreading knowledge and enriching the knowledge seekers. The attempt is becoming successful and the webinar series is being materialized because of the hard efforts of the chief organizer and chairperson of webinar series, Honorable Dr. M.M. Betkar sir. At the outset of this webinar, I welcome him as the chairperson of this webinar. I am also pleased to welcome today's honorable invited speaker, Nivedita Prasad ma'am from Millennium School, Noida. She is going to enlighten us on all the aspects of the topic understanding of IQ, EQ, SQ and perception as educator. Once again, I heartily welcome her on behalf of the organizing committee of webinar series.
Thank you.
I also welcome. I also welcome all honorable organizing committee members, Vice Principal SD Misal sir, Ravindra Karanje sir, Praveen Utge sir, IQAC coordinator Dr. Sanjay Kale sir, Sudhir Garad sir, Ambadas Khellare sir, Dr. Anita Dhole ma'am, Dr. Patwari sir and Dr. Wadkar sir. Before the commencement of the speech, I would like to invite Dr. Anita Dhole ma'am to introduce today's honorable speaker, Nivedita Prasad ma'am. Please ma'am, welcome.
Thank you, sir. A very good evening to one and all. You are welcome to this grand national and international webinar series organized by Shri Kumarswami Mahavidyalaya Ausa. Firstly, I would like to thank respected principal and chief organizer Dr. Betkar MM for giving me an opportunity to introduce resource person on this virtual platform. My special thanks goes to all the respected organizing committee members, IQAC coordinator and staff members. Those are supporting like backbone of this series. And a big thanks to all the respected participants who are joining very regularly from all over India and abroad also, and they are making this series very successful series. So today's keynote speaker, Honorable Nivedita Prasad ma'am, the Millennium School, Noida. Title of speech is Understanding Importance of IQ, EQ, SQ and Perception as Educator. Her educational qualification is BA Hindi Honours, B.Ed in Special Education, that is Mental Retardation, and she completed B.Ed from MP Bhoj University. She worked as coordinator of summer workshop and she worked as volunteer in Special Olympics. She got awards as Best Special Educator. She participated in number of conferences and seminars at national and international level. She got certificate of professional practice in inclusion aspects of learning difficulties for children and young people with disabilities, and it is received from Rompton University, London. So, after this introduction, I would like to request today's keynote speaker, Honorable Nivedita ma'am, please start your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. My dear listeners, educators, organizers, and most important, Mr. Bedkar sir, who has given me opportunity on behalf of Shri Kumarswami College, Ausa, to connect with you people on this virtual platform. I'm very thankful to him for the privilege bestowed upon me to be part of such prestigious gathering. I have been introduced as guest speaker who is supposed to deliver a speech, but I do not believe in speeches, as speeches are boring. I'm going to share my thought process which I have gained with my experience over the years. From last 2 decades, I have been working very closely with differently able children and adults for their inclusion in mainstream, and mentioned terminologies are part of my day-to-day life. As the topic suggests, today I'm going to share with you importance of IQ, EQ, SQ, and perception. I picked up this topic for this gathering as part of my awareness program. Most of the attendees on this virtual platform are educators throughout India, and a right platform for me to move a step ahead for awareness. And during this phase of pandemic, it is very important to know about these terminologies so that we are equipped to extend our support to society whenever, where are required. So let's first understand all these terminologies. So what is IQ? IQ, short for intelligence quotient, is a measure of person's reasoning ability. How we reason the things around us, it is because of IQ. It basically means how well someone can use information and logic in their day-to-day activities. So whatever information we are gathering from our society, from the books, for anywhere, how well we are using those information for our day-to-day activities. How well people can solve puzzles. We are able to solve, some people are able to solve the puzzles very fast, some are slow. It's because of our IQ only. How well they can recall information they have heard and how quickly. So whatever we gather information, we retain them, then we recall them. So how fast we are doing and how we are using that, that is because of IQ only. It is measurement of your intelligence and is expressed in a number. So IQ is basically is a measurement of your intelligence, and we always express IQ into numbers. A person's IQ can be calculated by having the person take an intelligence test. To know your IQ, you have to take up an intelligence test. Average IQ is 100. If you achieve score higher than 100, you are smarter than the average person, and a lower score means you are less smarter. So if your IQ score after taking intelligence test is above 100, you are an intelligent person, and if it is less than 100, you are less intelligent. The IQ score is used to compare an individual's intellectual ability with usually of the same age group. So it is possible to state that a person's intelligence is higher or lower than the average score of their peers. So your IQ score will be compared with your age group. If my age is 40 years, my IQ won't be compared with an 80-year person or say 20-year person. It will be compared with a 40-year person only, irrespective of the person's social status or whatever status it is. If we compare the mental age of a person to person's chronological age, the result is IQ. So chronological age, the age we gain after crossing our birthday, and mental age is the age at the level at we are performing. So when we compare both the things, we get our IQ. In ordinary language, one could say that intelligence refers to how smart or clever you are. Our intelligence, our cleverness, each and everything depends upon IQ. If my IQ is at a higher end, I'm going to be more intelligent. I know how to do things in a better manner. And if it is less, I won't be able to do the things in a effective manner. IQ deviation in children, adult and children are closely observed and experienced by you people, and sometimes very frustrating as educator facilitators. As all of you are educators, you must be watching IQ deviation. Say if in a class, if 25 students are there, one is genius, 4 are intelligent, 10 are the ones who are at the average, 5 are below, and 5 children are the children who are literally struggling. And you people as a facilitator is not able to understand how to help them. Every student can learn no matter how intelligent they are. So just believe me, each and every child can learn whatever their IQ are. But some students struggle in school because of a weakness in one specific area of intelligence. So those 5 children whom were struggling in your class, it is because one of the area of their intelligence is being affected. These students often benefit from special education program. So if you people are going to divert these children towards special education program, they can also learn. There they get extra help in the areas where they are struggling, such as sitting, pencil, holding, reading, writing, etc. So with the special education support, whatever area is hampered, they get support in those areas and able to live a normal life. IQ tests can help teachers figure out which student would benefit from such extra help. So if you know the IQ of the child, you know that this child's IQ is below average and he needs special education support, so you can always direct those children towards special education program. So to understand more about the IQ, how IQ affects our lifestyle, our thinking process, each and everything, let's watch a video.
तुम क्या नाम है तुम्हारा?
तेजस रस्तोगी।
किस क्लास में पढ़े हो?
अभी स्कूल में।
साइलेंस।
कभी स्कूल नहीं गया मैं।
खैर कोई बात नहीं। आज तो जी की क्लास है। कुछ सीखने की कोशिश करो। ओके बॉयज। लेट्स स्टार्ट। वो कौन सा पेड़ है जिसमें लकड़ियां नहीं होती?
केले का पेड़।
वेरी गुड। अच्छा ये बताओ कि धरती का कितना परसेंट पानी पीने लायक है?
97% पानी समुद्र में जाता है। बाकी 3% में से 2% बर्फ है और 1% पीने के लिए अवेलेबल है।
तुम्हें तो सब पता है, मगर तुम तो कह रहे थे कि तुम कभी स्कूल ही नहीं गए। झूठ तो नहीं बोल रहे हो?
मैं झूठ नहीं बोलता सर।
तो फिर इतनी जानकारी तुम्हें कहाँ से मिली?
किताबों से।
ओह, बहुत किताबें पढ़ी है तुमने, हैं?
18 साल के 18 घंटों में रोज जितना पढ़ सका उतनी पढ़ी है मैंने।
I see। अच्छा तो ये बताओ कि सूरज से पृथ्वी की दूरी कितनी है?
1946 लाख किलोमीटर। मर्क्यूरी 579, वीनस 1082, मार्स 2270, जुपिटर 7783, सैटर्न 14270, यूरेनस 28696, नेपच्यून 44966 एंड प्लूटो 51000 लाख किलोमीटर दूर है सूरज से।
Madam, please unmute yourself. I have muted you. Please unmute yourself. There was echo because of your unmuteness. So sound was not clear, it was having echo, so I have muted it. There is a symbol of mic. Please click on that if there is a cross one. On screen there is symbol. I can't unmute you here from here, so that you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm so sorry for all this commercial. I'm audible right now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Continue, please.
Yes, madam. Yes.
Just a minute. So I'm so sorry for all this commotion. By looking at this video, you can very easily make out that the character's IQ is much higher and he is able to retain all the information which he has gathered from the books or an environment and is able to produce whenever it is required. Let's go and watch one more clipping.
While playing that, you mute yourself, ma'am, because it's echo.
I have done.
देखो इन्हें ये ओस की बूंदें पत्तों की गोद में आसमां से कूदे अंगड़ाई ले फिर करवट बदल कर नाजुक से मोती हंस दे फिसल कर खो न जाए ये तारे जमीन पर ये तो है सर्दी में धूप की किरणें उतरे जो आंगन को सुनहरा सा करने मन के अंधेरों को रोशन सा कर दे ठिठुरती हथेली की रंगत बदल दे खो न जाए ये तारे जमीन पर
So by looking at this video, people can very easily make out that the IQ of these children and adults are below average. These children and adults require the support from their near and dear ones for day-to-day activities. They need support from rehabilitation professionals. They need support from their teachers, from the society. So let's understand the impact of IQ by doing a case study of Anushka Malik. Anushka Malik, came to me when she was in class 1. She had a borderline intelligence and cleft palate. Parent was clueless what to do with her. Then we guided the parents. Special education program was made to support Anushka Malik. She was able to complete her pre-primary school, went to middle school. Middle school, there is a provision from CBSE that a differently able child can drop the third language. So that provision was provided. She dropped her third language, and that time she used to get her remedial education. Completed her middle school, went to senior school. Senior school was really very challenging for her because she was a borderline intelligence case. It was not possible for her to take main subjects. So we guided the parents to opt for a vocational studies. The parents agreed with us. Instead of maths, science and SST, she opted for IP, home science and fine art. She was able to complete her 10th with 80%. Again took these subjects at advanced level in 11th and 12th. This year she will be completing her 12th and going for further higher studies with special education support. Although the IQ deviation was there, she was able to live a normal life. Our next terminology is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, otherwise known as emotional quotient or EQ, is the ability to understand, use and manage your own emotions in positive way, to relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, overcome challenges and diffuse conflicts. So if my emotional intelligence is at a higher end, I'm able to understand my own emotions. I will be using those emotions as per the requirement. And if I know how to use my emotion, how to manage my emotion, I won't be indulged into a conflicting situation. I will be a good communicator and I will be empathetic towards others. Or because of all these things, I can overcome the challenges, and if I'm doing all these things, there will be no conflict. Conflicts will be always diffuse. The main difference between IQ and EQ is that IQ is a measure of someone's reasoning ability. So with the IQ, we come to know the reasoning ability of that next person, while EQ is the ability to perceive, evaluate and control emotions. So EQ is basically more about the emotions, how we are managing our emotions. Means it is our capability to recognize own emotion and the emotions of others. So our EQ intelligence, emotional intelligence, will not only help us to understand our own emotion, it will help us to understand others' emotion also. Differentiate between various feelings and label them appropriately. So at different point of time, we go through different phases of feeling. So we will be able to understand that this person is at which stage, and we will be able to labelize them, use emotional information to direct thinking and behavior, and adjust emotions to adapt to different situations. So we know that that person is not a good mood. I'm not going to crack a joke at that point of time because I can differentiate the emotion, I can label the emotion. EQ is the ability to perceive, evaluate and control emotions. So EQ is basically more related to emotions only. Emotional intelligence comes from introspection and covers aspects like emotional awareness and the role of emotion in the problem solving process. So if I am going to introspect myself, if I know what is my plus point, what is my minus point, which point I am very good, which is the point I need help, I will be more aware of my emotional awareness. And this will help me in solving all the problems. It has more to do with how people manage themselves before they make contact with other people. So if I know how to manage my emotion, I can have good relationship with the others. I will be in a better position. I won't be shadowed by my emotions. So let's understand difference between IQ and EQ. IQ is basically a number representing person's reasoning ability. So IQ tells us what is the level of our reasoning ability, whereas EQ is ability to perceive, evaluate and control emotions. So EQ is basically more related to emotions only. It will help us to perceive the emotions, evaluate the different emotions, and we know how to control. If my EQ, my emotional intelligence is good, I will be able to control my emotions. IQ stands for intelligence quotient, whereas EQ stands for emotional quotient. Already we have discussed. IQ involves the knowledge and skill we acquire throughout the life and our ability to reason, solve problems and understand abstract information. Because of IQ, whatever information we are gaining from the society, we will be able to use it, reason it, and whatever information we have gathered, with that uses of those, I will be able to solve problem. And there's so many abstract information is there in the environment. If my IQ is at a higher end, I will be able to perceive those information. EQ has four components: perceiving emotions, reasoning with emotion, understanding emotion, and managing emotions. So because of EQ, I will be able to perceive emotion, not only mine, but others also. Reasoning with emotion, I know that this point of time, why that person is going through that kind of emotion. And I will be able to understand the emotional ups and downs and able to manage the emotion as per the requirement of the environment. Let's understand the impact of emotion by Tia. Tia, she came to me in 4th class. She came from a broken family. The parents separated not on a good note. Mother was not allowing her to meet with her father. Moreover, the mother was into another relationship. Tia was not able to take up all these things. She was emotionally disturbed. She was not doing good in her academics. She didn't have friends. She was not sharing a good relationship with the teachers. Completely broken, confused. So I started conversing with her, trying to make her understand. With time, she was able to understand the situation. We simplified at per her age level. Right now, she is in 8th class and doing good in her studies. So you can see how emotional disturbances impacts the person's day-to-day activities. So there are some ways by which we can improve our emotional EQ, that is utilizing an assertive style of communicating. So we have to use assertive style of communication. We have to always share our point of view, respecting the other's point of view also. Utilize active listening skills. We have to be an active listener. Respond instead of reacting to conflict. There is a difference between response and reaction. So any conflict arises, we have to respond, not react. Practice ways to maintain a positive attitude. In our life, different phases are there. Each and every time, either it is a low phase or high or over phase, we have to be positive. Utilize leadership skills. We all have leadership skills. We have to utilize that. Be approachable and sociable. We have to, anybody should be in a position to approach us. We should be get connected with the people. We should listen to others. We should make them understand what we are thinking. Be motivated at any point of a time, whether it is a good time or a bad time. We have to motivate it. We have to be positive. Yes, that we can solve our problem. Practice self-awareness. We have to, each and every person has got some plus point and some minus point. We have to be aware of ourselves and we have to use the things accordingly. Take critics well. Usually what happens, if somebody criticizes us, we don't feel good, but that's not good. We have to, whatever the criticism are there, we have to take that for building ourselves, for improving ourselves. Empathize with others. We have to be empathetic towards others. Social intelligence is to know oneself and to know others. So with the social intelligence, we not only know ourselves, we know others also. It develops from experience with people and learning from success and failure in social settings. So our social intelligence improves because we are interacting with people. When we interact with the people, we understand a lot about how to interaction. And while interaction, some incidents are there of failure, some are of at a higher level. We learn from those. Those things also help us in improving our social intelligence. It is a ratio between social age and chronological age. Again, to know our social intelligence, we have to compare our social age with the chronological age. A social quotient is a parallel concept to IQ. Social intelligence is the capacity to communicate and form relationship. Because of our social intelligence, if my social intelligence is at a higher level, I will be able to communicate in effective manner. And as when I'm communicating effectively, we will be able to form good relationship. It comes from knowing yourself and exercising proper emotional management. to have a good relationship with others, we should know our plus point and minus point, and we should know how to manage our emotions. We can say it is closely linked to emotional intelligence, but it is not exactly the same thing. Yes, social intelligence and emotional intelligence are interlinked, because if I know how to manage my emotion, I will be more socially intelligent. I will be in a position to interact in a better manner. When you start interacting, social intelligence should kick in along with emotional intelligence. So during the interaction, during the communication, during the relation building, our social intelligence is required along with the emotional intelligence. If I know how to manage my emotions, I'll be in a better position to interact with others, which covers tasks like expression. For all these things, social and emotional intelligence is required for expressing ourselves, dialogue delivery, listening. If I'm sharing a good bonding, I'm in a better position. I will be listening to other person also. Conciliation and learning through communicating with others. So if my social intelligence and emotional intelligence is at a higher level, I will be able to communicate in effective manner. Social intelligence uses the management of emotion and self-awareness to improve interaction. If my social intelligence is good, I will be able to manage my emotion and I will be interacting in a effective manner. Foster leadership. Foster leadership will be encouraged and enable the execution of unique intellectual tasks. So I'm sharing a very good bonding with my co-workers. Definitely my task will be achieved in a better manner. It is essential for unlocking the skills of effective communication, dialogue, and teamwork to create an optimal and productive work environment. So if I'm sharing a good bonding because of my social intelligence, my communication skills are very good, I'm very friendly with my co-workers, my goals will be achieved in a very productive way. So a socially intelligent person is effective, he will be effectively listening, he will be listening to others person in an effective manner. His conversation skills will be very good to indulge into arguments. So let's understand how does the social, if the social skills is not developed, it hampers the growth of a person via Ankit. Ankit came to me in class 4th. He was a differently abled child. He was not able to interact with his friends, teachers. He didn't know how to communicate. So we started working with him. We provided him the special education program. He was able to complete his middle school, and that he was in the school under social inclusion, where the child is only part of the school in terms of except the cognitive parts, the academics, he is not following the class level, and he is not able to spend some ways to enhance your social skills and develop your social skills. For that, you need to pay close attention to what and who is around you. So as a person, we have to take care what is happening around us, or who is around us. Work on increasing your emotional intelligence. Yes, to develop our social skills, we have to take care of our emotions. Our emotions should not overshadow our communication skills or any other skills. Respect cultural differences. Two persons coming from different culture, they have cultural differences, so we have to respect each and everyone. Practice active listening. Active listening is a key ingredient of developing your social skills. Appreciate the important people in your life. Every person has got a set of people who are really important to them. We should appreciate and acknowledge them. How does innovation of growth work? EQ and SQ combined with your IQ will be key to harness the concept and framework in the innovation of growth program to tap your most strategic asset, human ingenuity. So if my all the things are at a higher level, I am going to form a good relationship, good team, and by this, I will be able to achieve my goals and targets in a very effective manner. You will be able to get the most out of your team if you know how to build relationship with them and bring them into overall strategic goals. So I'm sharing my a good bonding. We are going to work together in an effective manner, and our targets will be achieved in an effective manner. Emotional and social intelligence together, ESI. When EQ and IQ come together, they form ESI, that is emotional and social intelligence. ESI competencies are linked to self awareness, self management. So, my EQ and SQ will be higher if I know how to, if I'm aware of myself and I know how to manage myself, and relationship management. Because of all this, I will be able to manage my relationship with others in a better manner, which enable people to understand and manage their own and others' emotion and social interaction. And because of this, I will be able to manage myself also and others also in social setting, because in social setting we are interacting with each other. Technical skills and IQ are not enough to differentiate who will be the best leader. To become a best leader, IQ, if I have a good IQ and I have a technical skills, I am not going to be a good leader. While some may wish that was the case, ESI competency rather than IQ and technical ones are responsible for the gap between the performance of those leaders that are great from those just deemed average. To become a good leader, become an effective leader, my EQ and SQ has to be at a higher end. If I have a good IQ, I have a technical knowledge, and my EQ is not good, my SQ is not good, I cannot become a good leader. While IQ often gets set in stone early in the life, ESI competencies can be learned and improved over time. As a psychologist, as a rehabilitation professional, we always guide the parents to go for an IQ test after 6 years old, because our IQ gets fixed around 6 years old. Whereas SQ and this EQ is every time we are learning, every year we are learning, and we have a scope to improve them. Uses of social and emotional intelligence. Social intelligence is more about the future. It came about so that people could survive, and it is about figuring out the best way for you to get along and come out of the situation with favorable outcome. So social intelligence, if my relationship with others, it is going to pay me in the future. So social intelligence is required because we should get along with those who are around us, and any situation, good and bad situation, if I'm sharing a good relationship, I will be able to convey my thought process, so I can come out of the situation with a favorable outcome. Even you have the qualification of paper, a lack of social intelligence could lead to strained or ruined relationship. I have a qualification IQ, but I don't have SQ. A good SQ, I may not be having a good relationship with others, so I'm going to miss out my opportunities, my growth opportunity, as well as lost opportunities. As much as you would maybe like to be blunt with someone when giving feedback, you may try to edit your words to try to convey constructive criticism without putting your foot in your mouth. When you're giving a feedback, blunt feedback, make sure that you people are editing the words. The feedback, the criticism has to be in a positive manner only, so that you don't land up into any trouble. In contrast, emotional intelligence is more about the present. So our emotional intelligence is about the present, because of the emotional intelligence, I am in a better position to manage my emotion, and thus more closely related to emotions and feeling. So emotional intelligence is related to our emotion and feeling only. By reading somebody's face, you can tell whether that person is happy, incredible nervous before going into a job interview, or shy because that person happened to be in his or her own corner in the middle of a party. So when you look at the person, by looking at the face, you can very easily make out that this person is happy, or yeah, this person is nervous because right now he's going for an interview. Party is all about socialization, gathering where you meet, enjoy, talk to each other. But at that point of also, if somebody is sitting alone, you can very easily make out that person is shy. So the last terminology is perception. The way that you notice or understand something using one of your senses is understood as perception. So whatever information you are gathering from your senses, that is perception. Perception is the sensory experience of the world. So we are experiencing the world through the senses, that is perception. It involves both recognizing stimuli and action in response to these stimuli. See, somebody is coming to hit me. I'm understanding that that person is coming to hit me, and I'm taking a setback. That is my response towards that stimulus. Both the things together is the perception. Through the perceptual process, we gain information about the properties and elements of the environment that are critical to our survival. So, with the perception process only, we are gaining all the information from the environment and we are responding. And because of all these things, we are able to survive. Perception not only creates our experience of the world around us, it allows to act within our environment. So just now I've shared, because of the perception, I get the information and I respond also. Perception includes the five senses that is everybody is aware of: touch, sight, sound, smell and taste. There are also other senses that allow us to perceive things such as balance, time, body position, exploration, and the perception of internal states. So as a rehabilitation professionals, we consider these also senses for the perception. Many of these are multimodal and involve more than one sensory modality. For certain perception, we need one senses, but for some kind of a perception, we need more than two or three senses also. Social perception or ability to identify social clues about people and relationship is another important type of perception. So by looking, see, while talking to a person, you can say that this person is very cunning, or this person is very kind. So all these is social perception. So these clues is social perception, and this is also very important for survival. Perception acts as a filter that allows us to exit and interpret the world without being overwhelmed by the abundance of stimuli. A lot of stimuli is present in the environment, but perception helps us to filter required perception things, stimuli. It doesn't take up all the stimuli. The perception process allows you to experience the world around you and interact with it in ways that are both appropriate and meaningful. So in every person, the perception process goes on, and because of this perception process, whatever stimulus we are getting, and we are responding accordingly. The perception process does not go smoothly, and there are a number of things that may interfere with the perception. So I may be lucky, you may be lucky, but few persons are there where the perception process is not going properly, and because of that, it interferes in the perception. Perceptual disorder are cognitive conditions that are marked by an impaired ability to perceive objects and concepts. So because of perceptual disorder, that person won't be able to perceive objects, that person won't be able to perceive concepts also. So all of you have seen this movie, Tare Zameen Par. Let's see a small clipping from this movie.
Ishan! I said page 38, chapter 4, paragraph 3. Read the first sentence and point out the adjectives. Page 38, Ishan. Adit Lamba, just help the boy. Come on, the rest of you, look into your books. Read the first sentence and tell me what the adjectives are. Okay, come on. Let's all mark the adjectives together. Just read the sentence for me. Just read the sentence, Ishan. Silence. Speak in English.
The letters are dancing.
They're dancing, are they? Okay, then read the dancing letters. Trying to be funny? Read the sentence loud and proper. I said loud and proper, Ishan. Loud and proper. Loud and proper. Stop it. Enough is enough. Get out. Get out of my class. Out.
So the character in this clipping, Ishan, has got a perception disorder, visual perception disorder. What his eyes are watching, his brain is not able to perceive, and because of that, he is not able to read what is written in the book. So let us understand about perception disorder via 3 cases. Vasu. Vasu came to me when she was in class 6. She had auditory perception disorder. Because of auditory perception disorder, for example, instead of listening to saw, she was listening as was. Parents was clueless what to do, how to do. We provided her the special education support. She was able to complete her middle school again by dropping third language. Went to high school, 9th class. She dropped her math. Instead of that, she took up her subject IP, instructional practice. Able to complete her 8th class with 8 CGPA. The parents wanted her to take science because both the parents are doctor, even the grandparents are doctor. But I guided them that if you're going to take science, she won't be able to complete her studies. They agreed. She completed her 12th with 96% in humanities group, took up psychology in graduation, completed her graduation from Delhi University only, completed her graduation, and right now she is doing masters in clinical psychology from Delhi University. Vansh came to me in 9th class. He had visual perception disorder. Special education support was provided to him. He completed his 10th with all the regular 5 subjects, then opted for humanities in 11th and 12th, completed his 12th with 96%, and right now he is in the first year of BCA. Hriday came to me in KG class. He had spina bifida. He had auditory perception disorder also and visual perception disorder. Special education support was provided. Again, completed his primary school. Completed his middle school with a droppage of third language. Went to 9th class. He was not in a position to take all the main subjects. Again, took all the vocational subjects. Completed his 10th with 80% and took up all those vocational subjects at a higher level in 11th, 12th. This year he will be able to complete his 12th and going to take further higher studies. This way, with the special education support, he is able to live a normal life. Hope sharing my work experience with you people is going to be a fruitful venture in the future for all of us. It will be very unfair that without sharing the name of my support system, I wind up. Vasu, child with visual perception disorder, has made this presentation. Request all of you to believe on yourself and all the children coming to you as facilitator. In the future, if you will require any guidance or support, can contact me via Bedkar sir. Feeling blessed to get connected with Shri Kumarswami Mahavidyalaya Ausa. Want to congratulate for ongoing webinar series and wish for more successful series. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your illustrative lecture on the topic. You have made the topic understandable to us. You have very well explained IQ, EQ, SQ, and perception, and these things are going to help us as an educator. So on behalf of the organizing committee, I thank you. Now after this keynote speech, it is time for the discussion session. So
Sure.
if any participant has any question or doubt, I request him or her to present it before Honorable Ma'am for the answers and explanations. Please, participants.
Thank you, Sunita ma'am.
Is there any question or doubt from anybody?
Yes, right now also, if anybody has got doubt, they can ask me. And in the future also, if any doubt is there, you can always contact Bedkar sir and he can revert the questions to me. I am always available to help you out.
Ma'am, there is one question
Yeah,
in the
so
chat
that,
box.
Yeah. Hello. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
May I hear? Yeah. My query is, ma'am, there are two type of view. What are the effect of social effect on the our spiritual intelligence. That is one side. Our the inner intuition is important, or the social behavior, or the environment like the family members, society, and etc. That also important, and how to affect these things also, the cultural effect also on the spiritual intelligence, ma'am. How to balance it, like outer social effect, cultural effect, or our own the spiritual inner behavior, like what are the inner energy, soul, etc. Ma'am. Two types of contradictions. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, basically, I don't work more on the spiritual intelligence. I more work on the social intelligence, emotional intelligence, and definitely IQ. So, for the spiritual and intelligence, right now, I'm not the right person to answer you. Social intelligence is definitely required. We have to keep on improving each and every day. We can improve our social intelligence by practicing, by knowing ourselves, by knowing how to manage our emotion. And it is not fixed. Like IQ is fixed. When it is fixed, it is fixed. But these things can be improved. I hope I'm able to answer, I'm able to satisfy your question.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Good.
Any other question?
Thank you, Vidyasagar sir, for your question. Thank you, ma'am, for the unsigned explanation. Now, after this, I would like to invite Honorable Chief Organizer and Chairperson of this webinar series, Dr. M. Ambedkar sir, to present his concluding speech. Please, sir, welcome.
Thank you, Professor Karad sir. Today's resource person, Nivedita Prasad madam, the Millennium School Noida, from the Millennium School Noida, and all the participants, including our organizing team, Vice Principal SD Misal sir, IQC Coordinator Dr. Sanjay Kale sir, Anil Wadkar sir, Dr. Dayanand Patwari sir, Anita Dhule madam, Professor Karad sir, and our junior college supervisors Karanje sir, Udge sir, Dhole madam, Professor N.B. Chaudhary sir, Badruddin sir, Principal Vilas Somane sir, Bandu Sakhare sir, Vidyasagar sir, and all the participants joining here. Also Dr. Balwant Gogre sir from our college. Today's topic: understanding importance of IQ, EQ, SQ and perception as an educator. For teacher, we should know the perfect meaning of that, and with very best examples, our resource person have implemented this one and improved the students practically. To understand, when we do the work jointly, so for the best leadership or for best organization events, everyone should be understandable and there is some coordination with these colleagues. So all these things are very important, and there we should know about the IQ, EQ, SQ and perception. So these factors are used to improve our students. She have supplemented so many examples of the student, those who were willing to discuss her, and they have improved themselves with the best place in their life. So with these examples, she have proved that when a teacher or facilitator, as we are the guidance, as we are the guardians of our students, so we should know about all the aspects of the students, and using understanding their level, we have to support them so they can go more ahead in future in their career also. So this was topic related to us, because we are learning from students and we are living in the students. So every students, as you have given some clips of the class also, what the student psychology is there, how teacher should behave with the student, and how she is unable to understand the problem of that student. So everything was very clear from these clips. So thank you, madam. In future also we will invite you for such a best speech. And for other participants, I would like to say that it was very quick preparation of this topic. Yesterday I just requested, madam, please engage this session, because today's session was unable to deliver by the scheduled madam. So within few time, so you have presented very nicely, and you completed this you have complete this series as a part of the resource person without a gap. Thank you, madam, from my organizing team. And if someone contacted me about any problems with their students or any problems, I will convey you through your mail and phone also. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. I'm always here to help you out.
Yes.
Thank you, sir, for your concluding words. And on behalf of organizing committee, I thank you for your efforts to continue this webinar series. I also thank today's honorable keynote speaker, Nivedita Prasad ma'am. You have accepted the invitation of our college and delivered a lecture on the topic, which was very informative and supported by the video clips and case studies and examples. And so all these things we understood very well. You have given your precious time for all of us. So I thank you, ma'am. I also thank all the participants who have joined this webinar to make it a success. And now I request all the participants to fill feedback link so that they can have their certificates. I also thank Dr. Anita Dhole ma'am, who has given nice introduction of today's honorable speaker. And with the permission of the chief organizer and chairperson of this webinar series, I declare here that today's webinar is over. Thank you very much.